There we go. Let's see if anybody shows up. Salute, package man. Salute to the no one. Finishing up some work I thought you guys would want to see. Let's turn that off real quick. Okay, that's all right. Let's get the intro and get this bullshit started. All right, what's good, everybody? It's me, the Artisan MC, back with some of that late night on call stuff, finishing up the table, cutting the groove for the tape measure. I cut it earlier today. It's too shallow. It's not deep enough, so I'm going back in it deeper. And I decided to stop what I was doing because I thought you guys might like to see this, but I also wanted to share with you some of the stuff, the events that have happened today since the last time we did this PMDM about the Black Beast of Burden. So, with that, I'm going to go ahead and cut this. I will mute up to cut it because it's going to be really loud and you don't want to hear all of that shit. So I will mute it a little bit until I get finished. Oh, we lost the one person that was listening. Oh well, fuck you. And let's actually put the background music on so you're not sitting there in silence. And I'll be back as soon as I finish making this cut. All right, what's up, you guys? Getting ready for bed. What are you saying? Digging the background music. I'm good, actually. Break from the regular sphere of headlines. Oh, y'all just chatting with each other. I thought you were talking to me. All right, so the happenings today. So this is the second part that my supervisor suggested on this workbench, which I will inlay a tape measure into it. I went and got my bit for my router and cut the channel into the table. And for some reason, it looks like it got deeper. It got deeper in here for some reason. Unless the dial got moved when I was doing it, it should be the same depth. It shouldn't be deeper at all. But it does look like the shit goes deeper. Yeah, like it found a groove and it stepped out. Stepped out on me. Which is some bullshit. But since I was here on call tonight, I figured I would entertain you guys with the latest goings on in this case of the bitch asses with the tone. So I'm doing my dizzle today, doing my work, not thinking about shit else or really anybody else. And while I'm doing my work with my soup, he mentioned something to me that came up. And I told you guys last time about the whole thing with the dude that was, bitching about me painting this bench that I built because I told him the next time he painted, or I asked him the next time he painted to put something down. And he got in his feelings about me saying that and went to HR and my regional manager to complain and say that my tone was such, and he didn't appreciate that. So when I found out about it last week, I actually confronted him with my supervisor there about it. Why is that there? Why am I getting somebody else's show on my shit right now? What in the fuck? 1 second, you guys. What the hell is going on here on YouTube? There we go. There we go. Okay. Can you guys hear me clearly? Okay, you said tone. Maybe you can. If you can hear me clearly, press 1. You might not be able to see me because I'm working at this end, but give me a second. But yes, no one. He had an issue with my tone. Now, he tried to make it sound like I yelled at his ass and said something really untoward to him. Well, all I did is said, can you put down something the next time you paint? Because I'm the person who has to sand that bench and take that paint off of there. He said, okay, that was the end of it for me. Turned out a whole couple days later, this bitch ass went and called HR and shit like that. Oh, it was his tone. So when I found out about this Wednesday at work, mind you, this is the second time he had made some fucking frivolous fucking claim against me. When he tried to work with me and talk to me and shit like that, right? So I was kind of irritated. So after my supervisor, you can hear me good. After my supervisor talked to me, I went back to doing what I was doing here, which was I primed this so I could paint it. And because I primed it, he took offense to me priming it and saying something to him. So he had ran to the supervisor that day and made a big deal over the fact that I was painting it after I told him not to. Now, I didn't tell him not to paint on it. I just said to put something down when you paint it. And I left it bare for a couple of days. But because I left it bare and somebody kept putting a bucket of water on top of it, I figured I should paint it or something to protect it, right? And I didn't just want to just, put some regular shit on top of it and call it a day. I wanted to do the artisan thing, which is actually do something creative. So I finally decided after a couple days on figuring out what could I put there to keep people from readily painting on it, like it's just okay to paint on this shit. I decided to paint it. My time, somewhat my paint, right? It's work paint, but nothing expensive. But I'm doing this on my lunch break, just like I built the motherfucker. He got offended. So after my supervisor told me about the complaint, I was pissed. I was kind of pissed off, but I went back to working on this thing, doing in my painting stuff, right? And then this motherfucker comes in on the side across from me, and then he starts throwing material and stuff down on the bench in front of me, on the opposite side, right in front of my face. Now, it went on for a minute, and I'm like, this motherfucker just trying to piss me off. So I'm gonna let it go and see what happens. He left for a minute, then he came back. And when he came back, I called my supervisor over because he was in the same room. And I said, can you come over here for a second? He said yes. And when my supervisor came over to me, I went ahead and started talking to homeboy. I said something to his ass. And I told him that the next time he had something to say to me about something I said to him, to talk to me. Don't go calling HR or the regional manager or whatever. Now, he wasn't expecting that shit. But he was sitting up there trying to fucking antagonize me. And I wasn't playing that shit. Not that day. So, I said something to him. Sure enough, it came out what his fucking issue was. And mind you, his issue, because I asked him point blank, what is your issue with me? First thing out his mouth on his issue with me is somebody else. Oh, you yelled at Carmen and some other shit. I'm like, what? Did you hear that shit? She told me, I'm tired of doing your jobs. And I'm like, nigga, you ain't doing none of my work. I'm covering you. I'm doing your work. You ain't never covering my work. So while I'm still trying to get him to say what it is I did to him, he's mentioning some other woman trying to invoke the rest of the team, all this kind of, Karen bullshit, all this female shit, right? He all out, he all wide, all the rest of the shit, right? So at a point in the conversation, mind you, my supervisor was standing right there. So he's moderating this thing, and we got 2 counters in front of us. So it ain't like nobody swinging on nobody. Because I kept calling him on his shit and telling him, do you have anything to say about anything I've done to you? Because you can't verify that I did anything to so-and-so, and that's not your business. He had nothing. But what he told on himself was that he wanted me out of his life. Now, what the hell that means for another grown man that just work in the same place, I don't know. I took it to mean he want me off of his job because something about me fucks with him. Well, I ain't going nowhere. Fuck yourself. So he's trying to paint me as the problem. I got an attitude around here with everybody. I said, no, I don't. I do my work and I go home. Now, when he said the comment about getting out of his life and shit like that, I told him, that sounds like something you need to talk to somebody about. Because I'm not in your life. I don't talk with you. I don't work with you. Not interested. So there ain't no life for me to be in. And we ain't got that kind of relationship. Sitting up here talking like a gay lover who wants his key back or some shit. I told him I was too grown for this shit. That I have 2 grown kids and a granddaughter. And I don't have time for kid shit. And I told him he was acting like a petulant child, which he really got pissed off about. But how he was acting, he was acting like a petulant child. And I told him in front of the supervisor, I'm not going to be walking around here kissing your ass and walking on eggshells. That's what I'm not going to be doing. But it's very simple. Don't talk to me. I ain't got to talk to you. If I need your help for work, I'll call you. If not, leave me the fuck alone. Whatever bullshit you on, I don't want to be part of it. Because mind you, this is the motherfucker that calls everybody after hours in the middle of the night complaining about other workers. The supervisors, anybody he can complain about, he complain and fishing for information like a little nosy bitch to try to run back and say, oh, somebody else said such and such. And how do I know this? Because that's the bullshit he was trying to pull on me. Oh, what do you think about such and such getting that job, man? Said it don't matter. Oh, I don't want to care. Yeah, I want to know what you think. I think I don't give a fuck. It's not my business. Oh, well, so-and-so's not doing their job. Well, take it up with so-and-so. That ain't my concern. So, because I called him a child, because I told him he was acting like a petulant child in front of the supervisor in this very same workshop, that motherfucker took the day off the following day. And I knew what he was doing because every time he want to make a complaint about somebody, he takes the day off. So he took the day off, and that next day, I talked to my regional manager, not because I got in trouble, because the same day I had the conversation with this dude and I confronted him, I emailed my regional manager after I talked to my supervisor and told him we need to talk. Now, my regional manager is the one who hired me. He's the one I interviewed with and gave me the job. So, if anything, the regional manager got an idea of my personality and my character. So we talked on a Thursday at lunch. He said he had found out what happened because this dude who I call the man child had called him and complained, and my supervisor had wrote his report like he's supposed to do and said what happened, that a name was said and that the guy was upset about it. So he admonished me for calling him a name. I told him I did not call him a name. I made a description of his behavior. That is not calling him a name. But if you want to be able to take that like that, that's your choice. But I didn't call him anything. I told him how he was acting. I described how he was acting. And it was an apt description. And I thought it was kind of funny that anybody who tried to repeat that shit to me, what I said, snickered. Because these are people who already know him. So that goes on Thursday. He comes back to work Friday. We have our holiday, Christmas party, whatever. I stay the fuck away from him. I do my shit on the other side of the damn bowling alley. And of course, he bring his long-headed ass over there to try to be near me and talk to the people that's over there. Like anybody invited his ass over there. He don't want to participate in the bowling, but he want to be over there where the fuck I am, wait away from his ass, just because all of a sudden he needed to talk to these people. Right? Bitch shit. Trying to be in the attention. So nothing happened. Goes on to the weekend. It's over. All right. So today, I'm working with my suit, and he tells me that just so I know, I should remember to stay away from him because me calling him a petulant child really set him off. So he took off Thursday because he said, this is the new wrinkle, that it is a hostile workplace because I called him out on his shit. Now, mind you, I'll say that shit again. For the people who didn't hear it. He said it's a hostile workplace because I confronted him about him making a complaint. And I asked him to stay away from me. So because of that, it's a hostile workplace that he needed to take off for a day. The fuck is he afraid of? Now, I thought that was absolutely ridiculous because the hostile workplace is where nobody likes you, right? And everybody is working against you in that place of business, right? What was he saying to me on Wednesday? He was saying everybody, all the techs, didn't like me. And because I had an attitude, because I'm not a joiner. This is not what I know of the other techs at all. So if what he's saying is true, I'm not creating a hostile workplace. He is. Because he's the one who keeps going to every one of these fucking texts trying to whoop them up into some bullshit against, oh, why is he painting that table? The fuck difference does it make? You didn't build it. It ain't your wood. It ain't your paint. It's not doing anything to you. But I'm creating a hostile workplace. Mind you, his interaction between me and him, I didn't say shit to nobody about it. I just told him. That was it. This motherfucker has went to everybody he can to try to complain about me and try to get somebody on board with him for that shit. But I need to be the one warned about creating a hostile workplace and not to retaliate against somebody who makes a complaint. I'm like, nobody retaliated against his ass. And why would I? I don't give a fuck about him. Wasn't thinking about him before the complaint and ain't thinking about him afterwards. So that's the new wrinkle. It's a hostile workplace because I'm here and called him on the shit. Now this tells you this would fit perfectly in line with my Tyranny of Lesser Men series because that's what this is. That is all this is. Some dude on some woe is my soul pussy shit. Like somebody needs to give a fuck about him. And is doing something to harm him. And the company needs to protect him at all costs. Now I told y'all this is some Vito from Do the Right Thing shit, where you some dark ass Italian who would have an issue if you said he was black, but ain't but a shade darker than me or lighter than me. I'm like, this bitch ass motherfucker. So I laughed at that shit, but I didn't say anything more to my supervisor about it. I went ahead with the work orders I got. And in typical retaliation fashion, I got a shitload of work orders back to back to back to back to back on the same week that the regional manager is supposed to be coming back. Sounds like retaliation to me. And these are from, mind you, the same person that he was so-called caping for when he told me what his problem was with me. All these work orders are from this same person. Gotta love that shit, don't you? What did no one say? So it's about pussy, white knight, his crush likes you. High school simping? No. This chick is like 300 pounds. 300 pounds. Can barely walk, can barely see, can barely read. Dyslexic as fuck. And I'm not saying dyslexic as fuck because she is. I'm just saying dyslexic as fuck just because how she can't read shit. He ain't simple for her. He was using her as an excuse because she said I yelled at her. And I'm like, I don't yell at anybody here. I don't need to. Don't need to. Anybody call up here and tell her something that she don't want to hear is yelling at her. She says it about him. She says it about me. She says it about the residents calling up when they tell her she talking too goddamn much and don't listen. They were yelling at me. I ain't fucking yelling at you. They just talking to you, sensitive ass. So that was the update on that bullshit for today. And I thought it was so trite in a way. Just so beneath me to have to put up with shit like that. But I was waiting to see my regional manager when he shows up this week. But I see, as always, when he comes to town, they try to find the most work they can for me to do. They don't want me having no conversation with him. It's like they get nervous or some shit. Because the last time he was here, we sat there and had a conversation in his office after hours for about 2 hours. And everybody was nervous and wondering what we said in that conversation. I'm like, it's an open door policy and a private conversation. Mind your business. Don't matter what the fuck we said. Whatever was said was between him and I. And it don't concern you. Oh, is that what happened? The bit got loose. Motherfucker. No wonder it went deep. Oh, shit. The bit came loose. Son of a bitch. That's why I went deeper. It was going too fucking deep. The bits slid loose in the chuck. I know I cranked this bitch on there too. I know I cranked it on there. Little play. Little play. That's all it took. God damn it. That's why I went so fucking deep. It was sliding down in the chuck. Well, motherfucking me. Yeah, I got a little curved piece on there. So that was the part that was annoying about the day with that shit. Now, apparently, I'm supposed to stay extra far away from him and not retaliate against him for his bitch acting self and me saying something to him. Because he don't want to have a conversation with me about what he did or what he said. So now he is apparently frightened, right? That's how he gonna play the shit. A whole bitch move on this shit. Now, my regional said he was going to investigate this shit more because the stuff I told him in the conversation we had didn't make any sense to him. So he was going to investigate more and talk to everybody else. And I was like, fine, whatever. But I know for the last 2 weeks, this motherfucker been low-key whispering and gossiping to everybody else, trying to make them have a problem with what I'm doing right here on this workbench that ain't none of them built a help with. Like, they need to have a problem with this because he got nothing to complain about. Nobody is paying him no mind or doing shit to him. And the very things he doing is what he looking for some HR protection for. Hostile workplace. So I'm sitting here waiting to bust that shit up as soon as somebody mentioned that shit to me in conversation. And I asked him 2 simple questions. Did I mention the shit to you? Who told you about it? Really? So I didn't mention any of this to you. So what's hostile? What hostile actions am I taking besides defending my good name? I'm fucking so stupid. But that's the bullshit I'm dealing with this goofball. You sound like a gay dude with a crush. And the reason I say that is because the first time he complained about me, as I told y'all, is because I made a joke to him at the time clock. And he was rushing to be the first one to punch out of the time clock and said he had big plans for the weekend. And I made the joke saying, what's her name? And he went back and complained to HR and the regional manager about that shit. It was an offensive joke. He didn't like it. Like, okay, so what? You gay? Fuck, I didn't know that shit. But apparently he ain't gay. But he acting like a whole bitch with hurt feelings. Hurt feelings about some shit that don't even matter. But that's what a nigga get to deal with. That even when there's nothing to complain about, work wise, behavior wise, anything, somebody will think up something to complain about. Because it's not that you are a problem, they have a problem with you existing. And that's what that I want you to get out of my life shit means to me. You got a problem with me working this job and existing because somehow me doing that fucks with you. And the only thing it could fuck with is his paycheck because I do overtime too. And he don't get to get all of it. And that's the only thing I could see his ass doing to try and keep me from doing, which is doing more overtime. So he get less of it. That shit sure did slip. That's what happened. It slipped down and gouged all the way through that 3/4. No wonder should I feel it in. Bring this shit up a bit. I purposely set that at 1/4 so it would just be right there. If I put this polyurethane on, it's gonna have to fill up that whole deal. It's gonna have to fill up that whole shit. And I don't think I have enough polyurethane for all of that. What y'all say? I think I'm gonna say fuck it and just do it. Damn, y'all live in there? Y'all listening though? I don't know who is live right now. It might be AM. AM probably live right now. I ain't trying to take his time. I just want to get some of this bullshit off. Share that with y'all so it's all documented in a sense. Because this has to be the dumbest shit you can actually have to go through on the job. A grown ass dude telling you, I want you out of my life. Like y'all fucking or something. Does he feel some kind of way about you? I don't know what's wrong with people. And that's why I do the Tyranny of Lesser Men series. Because these are people that you'll run into in the workplace. You ain't got shit else better to do than be fucking with somebody that don't do nothing to mess with nobody. They can't resist. They miserable fucks. And it may be a woman on your job. This one, it happens to be a man. And acting like a woman. What up, Joe Herb? You up this late? This is polyurethane. You see that? Good ass polyurethane. So I can clear coat this bitch. So I'll show y'all what I did. See if I can turn the camera around for a quick minute. I'll do this. Nope, that was the wrong thing. Everybody freaking out about James Gunn. And on the geek front, if you hear somebody saying that The Rock is the reason that Henry Cavill got fired, tell him to shut the fuck up and stop trying to blame The Rock for shit he didn't do. So that's what I did. I fucking inset it into the table. So now I'll put the polyurethane over it so it fills that in. But what happened is, like all dudes with big dicks, went too deep. Was not supposed to go that deep. Supposed to be a quarter of an inch. That's like fucking 3/4. That's most of the material. It's supposed to be this depth that I started with. Just right below the surface, just to cover that curve. But the bit came loose at this point, and that's why I went too deep. I didn't realize the bit had came loose. See right here, it's good. This is where it's supposed to be. Just right there, little touch, little fill, done. No, fucked up down there. So that's what you got to deal with. I am a perfectionist, but at this point, look, it's done already. Not shit I can do about that now. So I'm going to decide if I'm going to roll this or paint it. If I paint it, I'm going to be doing it for a while. But because I use this traffic light yellow paint, it's getting dirty because people keep trying to, while I'm not here, rub shit on top of it. So I want to cover it before anything else happens to it. I wonder if I should use my bigger roller. Means I have to do 4 fucking passes with this bitch. Decisions. It's an artist in his process. Hoping I have enough of this shit. Don't really want brush strokes in it. Now, the other funny part that came out of this shit is that somebody asked me today, when was I going to do the other side? And I told him later. What I should have told his ass, whenever one of y'all do it. Because that other side had been there before I got here. And nobody bothered to paint it or do anything to it. I don't even know who built the shit. Might have been the supervisor. I don't know. But because all of this kerfluffle that's happening because of this one, I guess they think I'm going to just do the work on both of them. Well, I didn't build that one. So I'm not responsible for painting that shit. I'm not responsible for painting this one. But if I want to paint it, I can because I'm the one who built it. Now, if they're so worried about how this one looks and how that one doesn't look as good, then they can do exactly what I'm doing, spend their time like I'm spending my time, and get the shit done. Knock it out. You better, right? You better. It shouldn't take you no time. But I can tell you this, it makes me giggle a bit when I see these motherfuckers making sure they go to the other one, the other table, to do their bullshit. It's not gonna fill it in. I'm gonna have to pour this shit in there to fill it in. Motherfucker. Alright. That means I gotta get I have to get it all done first and then pour the polyurethane in. It's gonna be a hell of a night. I don't mind the way that looks. Don't mind the way that looks. I want to do a test. I want to do a test to see how this shit looks. Brush a roller. Maybe the second coat I'll roll it. Maybe that'll be it. Second coat I'll roll it. So that's all I want to share with you guys about how stupid some of this shit can be, and you the only black person somewhere working. That somebody will always try to find a problem. And if there ain't one, they'll try to make one. And also how being good at anything as a black man is always a threat to somebody else who ain't half as good as they try to report themselves to be at what they do. One of the things that bother me about people is one, people who focus on negative. They're miserable fucks and they can't do anything if anybody else happy. So they find ways to make everybody miserable and turn themselves into a victim at the same time. It's a grown damn man playing victim like he need everybody to be nice to him. While he acts like an ass to other people. But he need protection. And want to be tone policing folks. Because he didn't like a black man telling him to not do something. So that's his fucking issue. And he gonna make it my issue to deal with his ass. So the tyranny continues. And the reason why I say it's the tyranny of lesser men, because a grown man wouldn't even bother with no shit like that. I know that because I wouldn't bother with it. And I like to know that I am a grown man with concerns and responsibilities, not like children. Or I should say, unlike children. Pretty fast. All right. Problem with me is I don't think a lot of this shit that I do is that fantabulous. But my old supervisor, Rose, told me you have to realize that what you do, everybody else cannot. You have to realize that because you have to give everybody else some leeway for not thinking the way you do or thinking as fast as you do. And she understood. She was another Scorpio, short little Hawaiian lady, but good heart. Come from a big family, and she tough. And she knew how to talk to me. That's why we still friends to this day. I ain't worked at that company in over 5 years. Me and her still friends. When I hang out, talk, I can come to her house and chill, all that shit. Know her husband, family, and everything. She's so cool. She know tools and shit like that. She be getting jazzed about chop saws and shit. If I showed her this, she'd be like, "Oh man, you got to do one of those in my house." And she'd be trying to do it herself. So it's people like that I have had in my life, 2013, who actually showed a brother the value in who you are, and that you have to value who you are and understand what you bring into a situation, and that it's all relationships. It's how you deal with them. This goofy bastard on this job shit really want to get a punch in the mouth. The hostile work environment bullshit. That was my claim from the jump. Because anytime somebody's saying you did something that you didn't do and activating all these goddamn white knight simps to come out the woodwork for and be like, "Oh, Antonio's being so hard. I ain't heard what he said. I don't know what she's talking about, but I like her. Don't make her feel bad." I ain't did nothing to that bitch. I ain't said nothing to her. Ain't did nothing to her. Simply told her ass when I had 10 work orders, you don't need to give me two more. I'm sure there's somebody else you can give them to because they all sitting at the fucking office. Got in her fucking feelings. I can't talk to you. What? Because I questioned you? Shut the fuck up. For real. From me to you. That's what I'm all. Y'all gonna lose me for a minute because I'm gonna go behind the camera. And this is not my regular camera mount. I actually fabricated this mount so I could actually do this. So you're gonna lose some shit for a minute. But you can see my stunning work. Now, the thought process in doing all of this was that because it's painted and this much work is put into it, motherfuckers would think twice about laying something down here and just painting on top of it without something to back it up. Think about that shit a minute. And as y'all know, I am all about the psychology. So whatever it takes to engage a motherfucker's brain, I'm willing to do that shit. See if they learn. So If he feeling some kind of way about that shit, that's his goddamn business and not my concern. But I don't believe, even in a shop, every surface needs to be covered with your shit that you don't clean up. Be it material, tools, your fucking lunch trash. No. There's a workbench for work, not for you just leaving shit. And every place in here don't need to be your personal fucking toilet. So if I got one place where I can work without it being messy and everything that I need is already there, I don't see what the problem is about that. Especially since anybody can use it. All you have to do is clean up after your fucking self and don't make a mess on it. I don't think that's too much to ask, personally, because that's what I do anyway. It's the children of the world who need people to the entitled children of the world who expect everybody to bend to them. Oh, I can't just leave my shit anywhere. That's not fair. That's not right. I can't just do what the fuck I want to. Oh, somebody massage my mangina so I can feel better. He was mean to me. His tone was authoritative. You know, the last time I heard some shit like that, told y'all this when I was working my other job, my other pseudo corporate job, Fortune 500 company, working on the floor with customers. And this customer came up to me, put his hand on my shoulder, and spun me around to face him. And I told him to take his hands off me. And he wanted a manager because he felt threatened. And my point was very clear. You can't go up to no woman in here and grab them like that. The fuck make you think you can grab me? You ain't supposed to be touching me. Don't touch me. He was offended. Now, this was a white dude, mind you. A white dude about as old as me, if not older. He was offended because I told him not to touch me. But mind you, he put his hands on another grown ass man and he was offended. He needed a manager because he was offended because I told him not to touch me. I'm like, think of the audacity of that statement. Like, you got what? You got your hands on me and offended because I told you not to touch me. I was laughing about that shit the whole time, right in his fucking face. Like, he must think we still back in slave times. You just got to touch black folks and they wasn't supposed to say shit to you about it. And he really stood on that shit too, as his complaint. He told me to take his hands off of him in a really threatening way. Goddamn right it was threatening. You shouldn't have your hands on me anyway. You can't touch nobody in this store. I can't touch you. Keep your goddamn hands off of me. And I was a supervisor at that time. Some of these folks still think they back in the 1800s. You as a black man ain't supposed to have no rights to say shit. You can't say nothing. Whatever they want to do, it's supposed to be A-okay for them to do it to you. And if you say something, it's like, oh, this uppity Negro. Who the hell does he think he is? Tell me not to touch him. I'm gonna show him I want to talk to a manager. I'll call a manager for you so you can talk to him and explain what kind of sense that shit make. Now, mind you, if I had touched him, if I had hit him for touching me, I'd have been fired that day. Legitimately, would have been fired that day. But I hadn't touched him. And he was complaining because I told him not to touch me in the tone at which I said it. He took it as a threat. And all I could say was, "You goddamn right it was a threat. Fuck you. Fucking hands off me." Should I pour this? I don't know if I should pour this cup first. And then in there. Yeah. I can direct it better in a cup. I can't put it down on that table now. Fishnet, black pantyhose, big leg, show through the hose. Well, that's working kind of well. Let's see if I can finish that out. Come on, man. Bitch. See? That's laid plans. I'm trying to fuck you up. I got a whole hole down here. Oh, slowly, slowly. This one going in thick. I should have mixed it some more. Should have mixed it some more before I did that part. This one going in kind of thickish. This one dry down here. Should have thinned it out. Bam! All right. What did Aaron say? Uh-oh, the workbench is looking extra glossy. Yeah, that finish. What up, Aaron Peterson? Epoxy, the inlay measuring tape. Sweet. No epoxy, Aquatechi. I went with the polyurethane. I only had the polyurethane. I didn't want to epoxy that shit. I wish I did have some epoxy because that'd make that shit look really just pimp. But I will show you what I did. So see, I polyurethane. That's why it's looking all glossy. And then I just filled in the channel with more of the polyurethane. I just filled it up. So the tape is inlaid. The polyurethane is there, filling up the little channel, even on the part that went too deep. And if you can see it, you can see there's still a little bit of an edge. So I'm gonna let that shit dry, and then I'll go over it again and fill it in completely. So yeah, my nigga. Like I told you, artisan is not just some clever name I thought up. It is who I am. I like words. I know the definition of words, and I use words. Mm-mm-mm-mm. Yeah, I'm in here getting high on this polyurethane, though, man. You ain't know about that poly life. You don't know about that poly life. Uh-oh, they got the taps going. Now, the only thing I don't have is something to clean up this damn brush. So, because it is oil-based polyurethane, it is not going to clean up with water. Just going to make a mess. So, oh, shit, I need my other phone to take pictures of this shit. I'm going to show the lady. Some bubbles in it, some fucking dust all over the place. That look really pimpish, man. Look really, really fucking pimpish, my dude. My dudes. Let's see if I can clean up some of this other stuff. Use some of this excess. The funniest comment I got about this was my supervisor saying, he was wondering who did it because there was a little bit of overspray. He didn't think I did it because there was a little bit of overspray on this front. And I just had to laugh because that's him saying how he recognizes my work, that there's not usually any mistakes like that. So it's kind of a compliment. Say, hey, what the fuck happened here, man? You had some overspray. Because I had to spray the black lines on. Oh, God damn it. I don't want to come off. Oh, and something else I just thought about too on this motherfucker. Why the hell did I have to do some of this nigga's work orders today? He was on call last night. He got 2 work orders that he didn't want to come out and do. The motherfuckers came in at the afternoon, 12 and 1 in the afternoon. He didn't do it. Told the people anything he could to get them off the fucking phone. And then they gave me the damn work orders today to do. I'm like, now how does this work with this motherfucker talking about he do my work orders? He don't do none of my fucking shit. I do his. Went there and looked at that damn job. He could have did that shit in 5 minutes if he had showed up. But he didn't because he didn't want to show up. He just want the money. He don't want to do no fucking work. I fixed that shit and was out of there in 10 minutes. And the resident who had to wait from yesterday afternoon till today was amazed that it didn't even take that much. Lazy fuck. I have to do 5 of your work orders. Never had to do nothing of mine, nigga. Stuff he's done of mine is the stuff I told him give it to him to do because I got too much right now. And I'm not going to be able to get there and do it. What's that phrase? Talking loud, saying nothing. I had a really dark thought about that motherfucker, but I'm not gonna say it because that's really mean. It'd be really mean and dirty, and I'm not gonna say that shit just because. Alrighty. Now that'll keep shit from spilling anymore. In this section. Yep, there you go. Got a hole. I got a hole. This is where my router bit went through the goddamn table. And now my epoxy polyurethane is leaking out the bottom. All right. So that's it, y'all. Let's see. Oh, we got BMT in here. What happened? Who chat let out? I just got a contract for Mercedes. Got 13 men put on. You're the reliable soldier. Damn, you got 13 dudes put on? You're hiring more black men than Joe Biden. You're not supposed to say that, though, right? You're not supposed to say that one. All right. So let's see. The BMT got his own compound, so he probably know about shit like this. There you go. Looking super saucy. Yeah, and I got all my gear out. Not all my gear, just some of my shit. Some little stuff that I could use to get some work done. But I'm going to go ahead and clean up. What is it, 9? It's 9 o'clock. I'm on call today, so I'm going to get this stuff swept up. Got bubbles. I see bubbles on this bitch. And that light. I see bubbles. Dust flakes or some shit. Don't matter. It's just gonna get worked on. But your organization is very good. Yeah, that's the thing, BMT. I'm so organized. I know this. I know somebody was in my van this past weekend when this motherfucker was on call, and I told my supervisor that shit too. When I came in, I said somebody was in my van, and he asked me about it. And I didn't like telling him how I knew somebody was in my van since he wanted to know. I said, because I changed my shoes like Mr. Rogers. When I get to this motherfucker, I change my shoes, I change my jacket. I got jackets like this sweatshirt. This is my sweatshirt that I wear at work. Get it dirty, paint on it, it don't matter, right? Take it off, my work shirt is still clean. My boots is the boots I wear at work. I don't track that shit home, right? So in my van, I changed my boots and I put my boots right on the edge and put my mud pan right on the edge. So you can't get up in my van unless you move that shit. And I did that shit Friday, right when I left. Locked my van up and everything. Why when I come to work this morning and go in my van, that shit is all pushed back into the back of the van because somebody got my goddamn van. And I know it was this man child motherfucker because the damn fool know how to use our key track system. He locked the van doors on me before when I was sitting in the shit, thinking he was locking me out of my van. He locked the doors on my van, and I was still sitting in there. I jumped out that motherfucker and came walking in there, his ass walking out the room. And I told him, you locked the doors on my van? Oh, what you talking about? Bitch ass nigga. So I know his ass was in my van. What he was doing in there, I do not know. I do not know. I didn't see anything missing, but I got a good encyclopedic knowledge, if y'all have not witnessed that, of the inventory in my van. So if I come up and find something missing, I know who it was and when it was. Gotta take him as an apprentice. He ain't no fucking apprentice. Fuck that nigga. This is the thing about journeymans and an apprentice thing. When you are a journeyman, you get to choose who your apprentices are. Now, if you're working on a site, you might just get the next dude in who's ever showing up, right? That may be the case, but a good journeyman gets to pick. You don't get to learn from everybody. You get to the journeyman gets to pick if he wants to use you or not. Because understand these skills and stuff like that were usually passed down through family, right? So if it's passed down through family, right? If you know, back in medieval times, if your dad's last name was blacksmith, it's because he was a fucking blacksmith. Carpenter were carpenters, you know. That's what you did, right? You pass this down from father to son, father to son, father to son. It's still like that kind of now. You pick who you pass this shit on to. Because like a good martial arts master, you don't want to pass your knowledge and your secret arts on to some goofy motherfucker like Kill Bill. And he be out there trying to kill you and everybody else, disrespecting your art, disrespecting your craft. So you don't have to pick everybody. So this motherfucker here, I wouldn't pick him to be apprentice of mine for shit. For shit. Nothing. Why? You're just gonna waste it. He a fucking hack. No. Hell no, nigga. I'm teaching you shit I know. I'll teach you some basic shit, but I ain't teaching you no 4 year, 5 year journeyman shit. No, nigga. Mm-mm. No. Keep fucking up the way you've been fucking up. Thinking you got it all figured out. Mm-mm. Yeah, see, that's something you can speak to, BMT. So you had 8 masters you've been under. I mean, you know the value of men with knowledge and men with knowledge being willing to teach you. That's a gift. It ain't an entitlement. It's not a requirement. Strict unorthodox and knowledge, not even in books. Yeah, exactly. But here's the thing: I got book and I got practical because I learned on the job as well. So I got both. I can tell you the code, and then I can tell you how to fix this shit just if you on the spot and need to fix it. Because that's skill. That's practical knowledge, skill from having to do it in the field, not just in theory, but actually having to use these and get the shit done. So like this recess I'm thinking about, I'm looking at making sure this shit is drying nicely. What is that? I made that shit up. I ain't done that before. I haven't. But I know how to cut straight lines and shit like that. I know the thickness of a tape measure, 3/4 by half an inch, give or take, or a quarter of an inch, give or take, on the curve. I know how to use a router. I have a router. Even if I didn't have a router, I could have did it with a skill saw. I know shit like that. It comes together to make me able to do stuff like that right there. And just pouring the polyurethane in there, it's just understanding how the material works. It's clear and it's going to dry hard and you can pour it. So you could probably fill up a channel with it, which is what I did. So fuck him. Teaching his ass shit. He fucking with me. I'm teaching why I should have left me alone. They all asshole in their own right. I had nothing but respect and understood they wanted their teachings passed on, even if it wasn't their blood. Yeah, because you want your teachings passed on to somebody who's going to respect them. That's the whole point. You want somebody to have the right mind state and the right respect. Because in the wrong hands, they'll fuck up some shit and fuck up your name. And you don't want that. You don't want them to bring dishonor to your name in your trade, in your craft. Fuck no. They're gonna have to be serious about it. That's why every journeyman don't train every apprentice. Some motherfuckers will never learn. Because I'll tell you what happens. The journeyman wants you to see what your mind state is. And if they deem that your mind state is right for the job, then they will take you under their wing and teach you. If they deem your mind state is not right for the job, they won't teach you shit. You can stay out there and pack lumber all fucking day for 2 years, 3 years. It don't fucking matter. They ain't teaching you shit. But the people who actually want to teach you and see that you have that desire to actually learn and do this shit correctly, they will take you under their wing really quickly and start teaching you. If you can do one of two things: listen and shut your fucking mouth to learn. If you all that I know shit, you go on and know. We gonna go over here and work. We'll see what you know. You don't have to ask pertinent questions. Now keep thinking you know every goddamn. That's it. That was an hour and 30 minutes of me bitching about some other work shit. And y'all getting to see me in my artisan mode, doing what I love, fucking with some wood and sharp objects, and getting to create a little bit. I'm gonna let this shit dry. What is it, 9 o'clock? Maybe by 10 o'clock, I'll come back and check it and then fill it in again. So I want this done before these goofballs come back the next day. But for now, it's all over with the polyurethaning. So that's it. What did Beasley say? I always joke with students, if you get beat in a fight, I say you didn't learn karate from, I don't know who taught them. Exactly. Beasley ain't shit. You didn't learn it from me. You didn't learn that from me. Come back here saying you lost, talking that big shit. Don't tell them my name. Mm-mm. I would get checked and thought they didn't like me, but they would send me on jobs. Yeah, because you were willing to learn. That's the main thing. You have to be willing to learn and know how to shut your mouth and learn. Yeah, and that's the main part, BMT. You got to take pride in the work and the craft. If you don't take pride in the work and the craft, if your mentality is, oh, you can't see it from my house, then you got the wrong goddamn mentality. They're not going to teach you shit. Uh-oh, I got a work order. Hold on 1 second. Hello. An emergency work order has been submitted for the Well, that wasn't serious. The fucking sprinkler head. Because our groundskeepers like to run over every goddamn thing. So they broke a sprinkler head, and now the guy's sprinkler is going off at night, and he got a fucking fountain in his front yard and don't know why. Because they hit the goddamn sprinkler head. Why the fuck you got a fountain instead of a sprinkler? Shit. It's not an emergency. Turn the sprinkler off, shit'll stop. But nobody's coming out to fix a sprinkler head in the middle of the night. But I do have to go out and take a picture of the shit because it's an emergency. Because it's a washer. 1 second again, one of these notes. Thought this was going to be a quiet night, so now I get to go out and take pictures of a sprinkler head. So let me go ahead and get this money, y'all, because you got bills to pay, things to do. BMT said my carpentry master tore down my shed I built because I got lazy. He made me redo it with no pay. Yeah, that'll happen. So, look, your good journeyman is can be like a DI in basic training. He can be because he wants you to perfect your shit. You ain't getting past him without perfecting it and without doing it right. You don't want you doing no half-ass shit. No, sir. And my forefathers, as I call them in construction, my forefathers in construction, who were all black men and really just taught me what they knew. They wouldn't let me do no shitty ass work. They'd ask me, that's okay with you? No, let's not do it that way. Let's not do it that way. Let's do it like this. No fucking way. They was not having that shit. And I would not, and just for me, I wouldn't disrespect them by taking what they taught me that they've given 30 plus years of their life doing to do some shit ass work like that and say, yeah, he taught me everything I know. No fucking way. No way. I just didn't have more respect for other people and their work than that. So I wouldn't do that. So that's it. I need to go and take care of this work order because we already had a meeting about percentages and time and stuff like that. I know it ain't about me, but I also know it is about me because I've done too much overtime recently. And so everybody jumping on the overtime thing to see what's going on with the overtime, seeing what they can bitch about. So now it's on response times. Even though if I'm staying on base, I'm the only one responding the quickest. So I don't know why we having this conversation in front of me. So that's it. Thank you guys for coming through, listening to my bullshit. I'm gonna go take care of this, and hopefully by the time I come back, this channel has dried, and I can go ahead and pour another coat of that polyurethane on top of this bitch. Get it all filled up. If they can behind you and ask you to break it down what you did, you better be able to do it. Yeah, that's it. It's not breaking you down. It's building you up, making you build better. And that's why I didn't feel bad um, when I kind of got out of the trade because it wasn't going in the direction that they cared about the craft anymore. It was just everybody caring about the money. And they let a bunch of people in that didn't have the skills, didn't have the training, had not spent the time, and they're paying them the same wage they paying me for knowing less, a shitload less. That was not okay with me. They ain't even up to that level that they're getting paid for, but they just want to pay them for it. You know, disrespecting my trade. Anyway, I'm gonna get out of here, you guys. I gotta go get some other shit done. Thank you for showing up. If you feel so inclined, donate to the stream. The banner scrolling across the bottom is for you, not for me. And I will see you guys next time. Peace. If it works. BMT asshole is my affectionate name.